On June 28, 1914, a 19-year-old student assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. This single act set off World War I, a devastating four-year conflict that claimed over 20 million lives and led to the collapse of several empires. But World War I wasn't just sparked by this assassination, it was the result of a complex mix of existing tensions. Think of it like a mountain of dynamite. A single match might light it, but the explosion comes from the whole pile. Similarly, the assassination was just the spark in an already volatile situation. In this video, we'll dive into the origins and complexities of World War I. By January 1916, 140,000 troops were gearing up for a major offensive. By 1914, Europe looked quite different from today. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was much larger, and Germany's borders extended beyond what we see now. Poland wasn't an independent country yet, and the Russian Empire spanned huge areas. The Ottoman Empire controlled what is now Turkey, with the United Kingdom and France playing key roles. Most European countries were monarchies back then, with only France, Switzerland, and San Marino as democracies. The Balkan states, Serbia, Bosnia, Romania, and Bulgaria were crucial to the conflict. Our story begins in 1878 after the Russo-Turkish War. The Treaty of Berlin let the Austro-Hungarian Empire temporarily administer Bosnia-Herzegovina, though it was still officially part of the Ottoman Empire. But by 1908, Austria-Hungary had annexed Bosnia-Herzegovina, causing a huge backlash among Bosnians and neighboring Serbs. The Serbs, who shared Slavic heritage with the Bosnians, were especially furious. Serbia saw Austria-Hungary's actions as a direct assault on South Slavic people. Before the annexation, Austria-Hungary had struck a deal with Russia to avoid conflict, and Russia agreed in return for some concessions. This mix of political maneuvering and ethnic tensions set the stage for the global conflict that followed. And splitting Istanbul, where one part was still under Ottoman control, while Russia had its sights set on the other half. Russia made a deal with Austria-Hungary. If Russia could take over the contested region, it wouldn't oppose Austria-Hungary's annexation of Bosnia. However, this deal caused an uproar among many Slavs in Russia who were outraged by the Bosnia invasion. The Russian Empire, already struggling and facing public pressure, couldn't ignore these protests. So, despite the secret agreement, Russia started supporting Serbia. In 1909, Austria-Hungary asked Germany for help if Russia interfered in Serbia. Germany, a longtime ally, agreed. Meanwhile, Russia reached out to France for support against Austria-Hungary and Germany. France said no, citing a lack of interest in Bosnia. Without French backing, Russia had no choice but to accept Austria-Hungary's annexation of Bosnia. The immediate threat of war seemed to fade until the assassination of Ferdinand. Bosnians who were annexed didn't take it lying down. They formed a revolutionary group called Young Bosnia, with help from Serbia, to create an independent South Slavic nation, Yugoslavia. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary and his wife Sophie were in Bosnia. A group of revolutionaries had planned to kill them. Around 10 a.m., a revolutionary named Kabrinovic threw a bomb that missed and injured 20 people. Ferdinand survived and their scheduled events were cancelled. On their way to the hospital, their car took a wrong turn and ended up near Gavrilo Princip, another revolutionary. Princip seized the chance and shot Ferdinand and Sophie. He was arrested and sentenced to 20 years in prison, not death, as he was just under 20. The assassination enraged the Austro-Hungarian emperor, who declared war on Serbia. Russia, seeing this as an attempt to annex Serbia, intervened to support Serbia. Germany stepped in to back Austria-Hungary. France then joined in to support Russia and Serbia, setting off a chain reaction of alliances known as the Chain of Friendship. This period is often depicted in caricatures showing the tangled alliances, including Italy's alliance with Austria-Hungary and Germany. But Italy withdrew from its commitment to support Austria-Hungary and Germany. The agreement was that if either was attacked, the others would assist. However, Italy claimed it wasn't obligated to help when Austria-Hungary and Germany attacked Serbia. Meanwhile, the Ottoman Empire, opposed to Russia, sided with Austria-Hungary. The United Kingdom, part of the Triple Entente with Russia and France, also got involved, leading to the Great War with all these nations in conflict. As the war continued, countries like the United States and Japan joined Britain and France. British colonies, including India, were also drawn into the fight as Britain recruited soldiers from its territories. So, why did so many countries get involved in the war? Unlike today, several factors drove the eagerness. Nationalism. Fueled by a sense of racial superiority and national pride, countries saw themselves as superior and were willing to fight to assert this belief. Otto von Bismarck's unification of Germany in 1871 fostered aggressive nationalism, used to rally support for war. Imperialism. Nations sought to expand their empires to gain resources and prestige. By the early 1900s, capitalist interests like the East India Company were aggressively pursuing expansion for economic gain. Militarism. Countries invested heavily in their military forces. By 1914, military spending had surged, reflecting a focus on military strength to dominate and expand. For instance, Britain's Royal Navy was the world's largest. Monarchical rule. Autocratic rulers like Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, and King George V of Britain made decisions without public input. Interestingly, these three leaders were first cousins, underscoring the close ties among European royalty. In essence, aggressive nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and autocratic leadership created a volatile environment that led to World War I. The rulers of three major countries during World War I were actually part of the same family. In a way, the war was a family feud, with Queen Victoria having tried to stop it before her death. Another big factor leading to the conflict was the complicated network of alliances. In 1882, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy formed the Triple Alliance, agreeing to back each other if they were attacked. In response, the Triple Entente was created in 1907 between Great Britain, France, and Russia. These alliances were fueled by imperialism, as countries competed for colonies and resources, which sparked jealousy and rivalry. What about regular people? Most didn't want the war, but many were forced into it, especially the poor who became soldiers just to make a living. Propaganda at the time glorified military service, making it seem noble and portraying soldiers as heroes. Even events like Britain's failed charge in the Crimean War were spun into acts of bravery, with poets like Alfred Tennyson romanticizing war. Rupert Brooke's poems also glorified battle, and after his death in World War I, his work was used to recruit more soldiers. Still, not everyone bought into the propaganda. Groups like the Socialist Party in America, the British Labour Party, and Russia's Bolsheviks were strongly against the war. Writers like Rudyard Kipling and Wilfred Owen also spoke out, criticizing the romanticized image of war and revealing the harsh realities soldiers actually faced. Poison gas, wounded soldiers, coughing up blood. If you truly understood the hardships soldiers face in war, you'd never see it as something exciting. One of the most well-known anti-war poems, The Man He Killed by Thomas Hardy, written in 1909, tells the story of two soldiers who end up killing each other simply because they were poor and needed to support their families. If they'd met under different circumstances, they might have shared a meal instead of fighting. Many soldiers in World War I resisted the war propaganda. There were mutinies, like an entire battalion in France refusing to fight, and in Russia, soldiers turned against their leaders. The most famous act of peace was the Christmas Truce of 1914, when British and German soldiers stopped fighting to celebrate Christmas together. But their commanders soon ordered them back to the front lines, and soldiers who refused to fight were harshly punished, even executed. I hope you enjoyed the video. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get notified about our upcoming videos.